action man and Cindy. I don't mess about. I make them kiss each other when my mum and dad go out. Twitching, no stressing, I don't hang about. I get them down and dirty, then get them falling out, then get them flirty, get them throwing plates at each other, cause that's what it's all about. Now fuck off back to your own room. Well, go in the back room when fuck all's going on, what's new, and the plated scenes of that. I live on a really depressing cul-de-sac where couples get divorced and people come up that you've never seen before, like that. Smell of cigars and oil twat.
Go too high, too low, it doesn't make a difference, I know. Too high, too low, but the system won't go. Too high, too low, it doesn't make a difference, I know. Too high, too low, but the system won't go.
Hawk and Mindy, I got eagle eyes above me. I just hit it out in beige and tan, stain-proof kitchen mat and ass. Pheasant just hanging about. Look at the seed patch on the fucker. Old man and his brother setting about. Stinks like an old body, like mornings on the body. Shotgun lagerotte, like Pornhub sticking constantly. Wi-Fi's gone all lo-fi. My arse is feeling too dry, like crackers out at midnight. I can't be arsed with a butter, alright.
You're not from round here. Crash landed about a week ago. Yeah, I feel for you, I do. The state of it is alarming, so don't presume anything, or Blue Monday will someday become you. Well, the furniture's the same, but the menu's rearranged, and your jokes won't land in the same space you're used to. You go too high, too low, it doesn't make a difference, I know. Too high, too low, but the system won't go. Too high, too low, it doesn't make a difference, I know. Too high, too low, but the system won't go.
I looked out on the throne, outside of my window. Outside there wasn't anything nice to see. I wanted things to smell like meadows, not like hell. Dying dandelions and bumblebees. I looked out at the throne, outside of my window. Outside there wasn't anything nice to see. I wanted things to smell like meadows, not like hell. Dying dandelions and bumblebees.
Eggs are fried, I can't seem to stay alive. I'm in a weird place now. I pet my dog, now he's on fire. I'm in a weird place now. And there's something about hanging around makes me feel like I do. Oh no, I'm in it, I'm freaking out. I'm in a weird place now. I dropped a diamond, picked up a dime. I'm in a weird place now. My mind's a child, he isn't mine. I'm in a weird place now. And there's something about hanging around makes me feel like I'm already gone. I'm in it, I'm sick of this shit. I'm in a weird place now. Oh yeah, I'm in a weird place now. now.
I think the bigger plinth was white as well, Alex, which is why we chose the black. Yeah, you will if it's higher with the white.
222. Is that level coming alright to you? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah? Yeah. I'm just. Hello. Oh yeah, I'll get to that in a sec. 1, 2, 3.
Question for Russ. Testing, testing. Oh, that definitely works.
SailGP is also pushing the drive to race for the future. So this is how the press conference is going to work. We're going to be going in groups of 3. I'll ask questions, but journalists do feel free to submit questions on the portal, and I'll get to that after each group. So kicking us off then, firstly I'd like to welcome Olympic and reigning SailGP champion Tom Slingsby from Australia, 2-time Olympic medalist and runner-up in SailGP Season 1 Nathan Outridge for Japan, and the most successful Olympic sailor of all time, Sir Ben Ainslie, helm of the Great British SailGP team. So, Tom, I'll start with you. As the reigning champion, no doubt you'll be keen to not let that title go. How are you feeling then ahead of Season 2?
Yeah, obviously a bit nervous to get racing again. It's been 14 months since we've been on the racetrack, and yesterday we had some practice racing, and it was definitely the adrenaline was flowing, but it was great to get back out there. And we're a little rusty, but we'll get going back straight into the racing and try to get some good results.
Yeah, how different is it going to be this season? Because in Season 1 you had 5 other teams to race against. This time you've got arguably a better lineup this year. All these boats, fleet racing, flying at speeds of 50 knots plus. How different is it going to be?
It's hard to explain how much more the extra boats on the start line sort of really affect you. It's not like we have a grid like a motor race where you don't really notice the extra cars, I guess. Getting the extra boats on a straight start line where everyone's got to hit it at the same time, for sure you notice the extra boats. And the fleet level's gone up, and the standard is higher, and there's less passing lanes now, so we've got to up our game to stay at the front.
Were you pleased with the training that you've managed to get in? I mean, it has been fairly limited heading into this event.
Limited training, but every team's in the same boat. Some teams got a little more than others, but that's the way it is. We tried to make the most of what we had, and we're happy with our preparation.
So who do you see as the main dangers and challenges for your title?
Main dangers? Look, it's hard to know. In training, a lot of different teams are going fast, but definitely Ben Ainslie's team, GBR, Nathan's team, Team Japan, and then I think USA were going very well. And then New Zealand have had limited time in the boat, but they'll be extremely strong as soon as they get a bit more time. So it's anyone's game.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the American team, because your coach, Philip Presti, he moved across to them. It's sort of very much a new setup there. You've got Jimmy Spittle coming in. What do you make of that team?
That team is very strong. Philip Presti was our coach last year. He has all our playbooks, all our tactical moves, how the crew cross the boat. He knows everything about our team and our structure. So he's taken that straight to the US team, and on the water we saw them copying that and straight up to speed. So we're going to have to do something different to mix it up. Is
that what your approach then? You'll have to change it, or I mean, is it good that you equally know the US tactics?
We've got to improve. If we stay as good as we were last season, we won't win. We need to improve to win this season. So the fact that they know last year's playbook, it doesn't bother us too much.
And where are those improvements going to come from?
The improvements, look, we've got to start better than we did Season 1. We've got to start better than we did in practice racing here yesterday. And then I think we're pretty strong around the race course. We've just got to tidy up a few things, not get boundary penalties, little things like that. And I think we can mix it up at the front of the fleet.
You've stuck very much with the core of your team from Season 1. Is that an advantage, do you think? Because there are a lot of, as I said, new teams, new structures out there.
We have stuck mostly with our team from the first season. We've made a few little changes. Look, I feel that we still have more to give. Our team wasn't performing at our max level, and so we're going to concentrate on that and just refine things and try to improve that way instead of restaffing. We think we're a strong team and we can keep improving.
You mentioned Sir Ben Ainslie's team. Of course, they put one over you on home waters last year in Sydney, so it's time to set the record straight, is it?
Yeah, Ben definitely kicked our ass in front of all our friends and family, which is not a nice feeling, but that's okay. Look, they sailed unbelievably there. We weren't quite at the top of our game, and yeah, would love a rematch this season.
But that's okay, though. I'm sure it hurt at the time.
It did hurt at the time, but it's a new season and we're ready to roll for this one.
Well, good luck to you. Takes me nicely on to Ben, because you dominated the event last year in Sydney. What can we expect from you here in Bermuda?
I'd love to say that we'll just continue in that fashion, but I think it's going to be a lot harder than that. I think this is an exceptional lineup of talent in this one design format of racing. It's quite possibly the best we've seen in sailing. So whoever comes out on top is going to have really sail incredibly well in this class of field and in these types of boats in this racing.
Yeah, you must really relish this because you love a challenge. This competition, as you said, probably the best in sailing ever. You must be pretty pumped ahead of the season.
That's right. As competitive sailors, as competitive sportsmen, that's what we want. You want to be racing against the best and really testing yourself. And we've got that now with SailGP. It's an incredible opportunity for all of the athletes in this league to go up against the best in these iconic venues around the world in these F50 boats. It doesn't get any better than that.
Talk to me about your team. How has it sort of come together? What improvements have you made for this season in the team?
Well, we have the same lineup that we had in Sydney some 14 months ago. That was the only event we've done in SailGP, sadly. We'd have all loved to have raced last season, but COVID put paid to that, as it has with so many events and so many people's expectations around the world. But credit to the league in keeping things together and getting this 21-22 season lined up with some fantastic venues. We're all just so excited to be back out in the water and get racing.
And how confident do you feel? Because yesterday's rehearsal races seemed to go very well for you.
They went okay. I wouldn't have said we started that well. We had a few issues working out, getting off the start line, but once we did that, the guys were sailing the boat really, really well. And we also had Hannah Mills with us, who's our female athlete, and she wasn't really supposed to be helping us out that much, but in the practice racing it's okay. And she did a great job too, so it was great to have Hannah with us, and just good to be back racing with the team, and looking forward to getting into it, for keeps today.
Yeah, you certainly had quite a few Olympic medals on your boat yesterday, but in terms of having Hannah on board, it's a great initiative this year by SailGP.
I think so. I think all sports, are trying to make that step to be more inclusive. Sailing has that ability because, some of the roles are very much power orientated, but a lot of roles aren't, and so there's no reason why a female athlete can't step on board one of these boats and have a meaningful impact and ultimately decide the outcome of races. That's where we need to get to. I think it's probably going to take a little bit of time, but to upskill those female athletes is absolutely the right initiative.
And finally then, I guess, who do you see as your main competition out on the racetrack today?
Everybody. It's no exaggeration. This is, like I said, it's quite possibly the toughest lineup we've ever seen in sailing. There's no weak teams out there.
Well, good luck to you. And Nathan, then you finished runner-up in season 1. How are you feeling ahead of season 2? How's training been going?
Yeah, well, our team's pretty different to what we had in season 1. Ben's got 2 of our key people from season 1 in Ian Jensen and Luke Parkinson, and we saw how valuable every team member is on the boat. And so his results in Sydney, I think, showed their skill level. Thankfully, they left a lot of knowledge with our team, and that was able to be transferred to our new team members. And we're here with the new lineup. So the same 3 Japanese sailors are with us this year, but we brought in Chris Draper and Francesco Bruni to complete the team, and the team's been gelling quite well, as all teams have had limited time on the water, but the team's gelling pretty well and happy with how we're progressing.
It goes without saying, though, that this season it's a tougher lineup, tougher competition in terms of trying to defend or go better than that runner-up spot?
I think everyone said, and I think you're going to hear it all morning, that it's the best fleet we've ever seen in probably any sailing competition in terms of the level of sailors all in one design boats. These sailors have come from different backgrounds, different Olympic backgrounds, America's Cup backgrounds, and you've got 8 of the strongest teams that I think we've ever seen in a sailing competition, all mixing it up together. So I think just getting top 5s in these races is going to be really difficult, and if you're going to win races, you've got to sail perfect from start to finish, and we saw that in the practice racing yesterday. So looking forward to today.
One advantage for the teams is that you can see all the data after racing from the top teams. How much of an advantage is that?
It's a huge advantage if you can find the time to know what you're looking for. The data sharing is really cool, and if you're struggling with a particular maneuver or trying to understand why one team has an advantage over you, you get sent performance reports from SailGP which analyse every team. So everyone gets the same performance reports, and it's about how you interpret that data and how you can turn it around and improve your performance the next day. So, you know, one of the most exciting things for us as a new team is trying to get the performance reports when we get off the water, study them, and look at what, for example, the Australians and the British are doing with some of the manoeuvres, compare it to what we're doing and say, hey, you know, if we made a small tweak in this direction, we might be able to gain a few metres back. And likewise, if you're one of the top teams, you know, people can catch you quite quickly. So it's going to level out the field really quickly.
Do you class your team as one of the top teams, or how do you look at yourselves?
I'll tell you that this afternoon.
Who do you see as leading the fleet then this afternoon after the limited practice we've had in Bermuda?
Oh, well, I think, as Tom and Ben both said, anyone can lead the race start to finish. We saw in the practice races, Ben won both races that he competed in yesterday. And the Aussies were strong, and Jimmy was really strong also with the US team. So, you know, I think also the thing to point out is that with 8 teams on a really small course with a small start line, you're kind of racing yourself as well. Yesterday was a race of boat handling and manoeuvres. If you pulled off every foiling tack and foiling jibe and you got the ley lines correct, you were passing boats left, right and centre. And if you were making errors, you were going backwards really quickly. So, you know, for our team, I think we're going to treat the racing as we're racing ourselves, just trying to make sure we sail the boat as accurate as we can. And everyone else is just obstacles that we've got to try and avoid.
It makes for some exciting racing. Looking forward to it. Finally, with you three, I've just got some questions in then from some journalists. So I'll start with to Tom. Then this is from Mundo Nautica in Spain. Last season you did very well. What do you think of? What are your thoughts ahead of this season? And who do you fear out there? I know you've touched a bit on that, but trying to keep the momentum going this season.
Yeah, I sort of spoke about it before, but look, every team is strong. We've been racing around with teams that aren't sort of considered favourites, and we can't pass them in training. And then we race around the top guys, and it's very equal also. The level of the fleet is so much higher than it was. But as I said, I think Ben Ainsley's team are going to be very slick. I think Nathan's team, Team Japan, are going to be slick. And for me, the USA team are going to be very slick. So hopefully we're in there mixing it up for the final at the end of the year.
Question to Ben from Mark Reed from the Bay and Delta Yachtsman magazine in America. Ben, how has the transition been for you and your team coming from the AC-75s to the F-50s?
It's been good. It's been a lot of fun getting back in the F-50s. They're a much more dynamic boat, really, in terms of how you can throw them around on a shorter race course. It's a bit more like sailing a dinghy, and you know, the guys have mentioned a lot of the top sailors in this field have an Olympic background, so making that transition through to the F-50, I think, is that much easier. And we've really enjoyed the time being back on these boats here in Bermuda. So looking forward to some fleet racing, which is something we haven't done for a long time.
Yeah, it's a different approach then for you guys in terms of assembling the team.
Yeah, that's right. It's a different approach to the racing, different strategy. Getting 8 boats off the start line is a challenge. That Mark 1's going to be fascinating as they all go piling in at close to 100 kilometres an hour. It's going to be pretty interesting. But that is the challenge, and we're looking forward to it.
And finally, one for Nathan from Richard Gladwell from sailworld.com in New Zealand. Nathan, he says, this is your first time back on the water following the COVID restrictions. You've been out in doing the commentary for the America's Cup. How challenging has the last year been, and what sailing have you been able to do?
Yeah, it's a good question. I actually haven't done a race in 14 months in a boat like this. I've been sailing a little bit in moths in New Zealand, and I've been getting into some foiling wing sports, wind foiling and winging, and just trying to find whatever I can to sail. But for our team, we're based all around the world, and so we haven't really seen each other face to face for 14 months. So to arrive here in Bermuda and see everyone again was really cool, and to get on the boat's awesome. So yeah, not really done as much sailing as the likes of, say, Ben, who's been flat out with his America's Cup paint, and Jimmy, where they just sail, consistently for the last year. So it's going to be a bit eye-opening today to be racing once again, and probably not as well prepared as we'd like to be, but that won't slow us down at all.
Well, look, thank you very much, guys. Some great stuff there. Thank you to you three. We're going to take a bit of a pause. You guys are dismissed as such. We're going to take a pause whilst we wipe down the stations and welcome our next three helms up to the stage. Take this opportunity to remind members of the media of SailGP's important message as we enter this season, with a sense of purpose that goes beyond entertainment. We're excited to share with you our purpose: to race for the future, to race for a better future, championing a world powered by nature with the goal of accelerating the transition to clean energy. How SailGP is setting a new standard as the first climate-positive sports property, and we'll find out more on this from SailGP CEO Sir Russell Coutts in a few moments' time. Great, welcome back then, welcome back, and welcome back to our press conference then ahead of this opening event. And on stage, delighted to welcome Florian Trittel for the Spanish team. From the Denmark SailGP team presented by Rockwell, we have Nikolai Sehested. And for France, we have Olympian and four-time world champion Billy Besson. Thanks very much, guys, for joining us. I'll start with you, Nikolai. Just how excited are you to be here, and what does it mean for you to be representing Denmark in this series?
I for sure speak of the whole team when I say we're very excited and very proud to be here in Bermuda and represent Denmark at the first Grand Prix. So yeah, it's been a long time coming for the last year. It's definitely been challenging for everyone, but now it's just really good to go racing again and see where we're at the moment. It's hard to tell.
You guys probably have had the best preparation here in Bermuda because you've had the longest time out on the water. That must help give you some advantage?
Oh, I think it's really hard to get a lot of hours in these boats. They're so complex and so many things that need to get right. So I'm not sure if we had more hours than some of the guys sitting next to me, but we definitely got here early, and that was nice to get set up and get prepared. But in terms of hours in the boat, I don't think we had that many hours here, but that's all right. It is a tricky boat, and that's always going to be a challenge.
Have you set yourself a target for this season? What are your expectations?
Yeah, our project is a long-term project. We want to do it right, and we don't want to rush anything. So the target for the season is obviously to mix it up and then somewhere mid-fleet by the end of the season. That would be fantastic for us. We're not trying to run before we can walk, and we know where we are in terms of experience, and we are lacking a little bit behind the other teams. So we're the underdogs, and we're happy with that role for now and fly a little bit under the radar. But it's no secret. Eventually, we want to be at the top, but we just got to take our time there and build confidence and not rush anything.
And for you personally, what's it like being part of such a prestigious group of sailors that have come together for this?
Oh, it's a huge honor to be sailing against all these top teams and these top guys. They're fantastic athletes, but also good people to be around. So we're very privileged, and we're very happy to be here. And it's a fantastic project that we have as well because of Rockwell. So we're in a really good mood and very happy and proud to be here.
Well, good luck to you then today and for the rest of the season. Florian, you're also a new team, Spain. This will be the first full season. What are your hopes and targets for the season ahead?
Yeah, I think we are obviously growing as a team, and one of our big targets is to grow as a team, and we really want to host a great event and welcome everybody there. And ultimately, we're here to win. So yeah, even if I thought we were the underdogs, we really want to prove that we can be up there.
Does it sometimes help being the underdogs in terms of nothing to lose? I mean, how do you approach each race?
I think like everybody who's here already said, it's going to be a really tough fleet, and even being the underdogs and you got nothing to lose, it's not going to be easy. And slogans in our team that we quite want to stick to is we want to keep it simple, because with 8 boats there's going to be massive opportunities and massive losses as well. So yeah, keep it simple, and consistency is the key for being up there, and that's what's going to be paying off.
And finally, what does having a team in this championship, what does it mean for the development of sailing in Spain?
I think having a SailGP team in your country is massively motivational for everybody in your country, and it's inspirational as well. And that only is going to develop the sport in your country. And on the other side, we're building up a foiling academy, which is meant to be our pathway towards sort of these sort of competitions, towards the F50, towards SailGP, and offer everybody in our country the opportunity to grow and thrive in the sailing sport.
Well, we look forward to seeing that develop, and of course going to Spain as part of season 2. Billy, finally, how have preparations been for you and the French team here in Bermuda?
We train with as much as we can on the foiling catamaran, on the easy to fly with our team last year.
You're a 4-time world champion, so how do you sort of approach, or how do you view the lineup of teams? Some people might say you're ranked as an outsider, but what do you think of that?
We have not good enough. We have not been good enough so far. But I hope it will be the last time you call me an outsider.
What do you need to do differently then, do you feel, to improve and be right up there?
Like everybody said, you know, we need to learn a lot anytimes, and anytimes on the water we learn. So it's the key. If everybody is gone on the water, it's better for everybody.
You've brought in British sailor Lee McMillan into the team, hoping he'll make the difference?
Yes, Lee has come from with us, and with his experience on America's Cup 2, so he's good for us. So we learn a lot for the Anglo-Saxon world.
Of course, France are very well known in offshore sailing, but no French team has ever won at this level in short course around the boys racing. So a bit like my question to Florian, what does having a team in SailGP, how important is that for France?
Yeah, in France there is a lot of offshore, a good sailor, offshore sailor, and single-handed too. So maybe if I should sail the F50 single-handed, maybe we will win. But more seriously, maybe we need to learn for the Anglo-Saxon world. That's why Lee is here on board, and it's really good for our team to go on this way.
Well, wish you all the best. I'm just going to take some questions then from the journalists submitting those online. From Matthew Shin from Planet Sail. This one's to Nikolai. Nikolai, how much has changed on the boats for this season, and has this leveled the playing field for the opening event?
In terms of changes on the boat, there has been some small technical changes to the boats. Also, you know, in terms of how the rudders go in and so on. So there is something we need to get our head around. And the wings are now a new sort of season wings with new design upgrades. So for sure, there's also a little bit of that to learn and pick up on. But the main challenge for us is still sailing the boat properly, despite new changes. It was also a challenge for us in Sydney, and that's going to remain our focus in terms of I think we are our own biggest competitor right now, and try to not make too many mistakes in the boat handling today will be our focus.
Luis Pomar from the Spanish Sailing Federation. This one's to Florian. Hi, Flo. Many of the teams already said you guys will be the team to keep a lookout on, to look out for. Any extra pressure?
Any
extra pressure with the fact that Lewis believes that many of the teams said you are the guys to be keeping an eye on?
I don't think so. I think that's an extra push of motivation for us. We know that we can do it, and we just need some time, and then we're going to prove it. So pressure's on anyway, and we're happy to go for it.
Sounds like some fighting talk. Thank you so much to all three of you. Good luck today. Good luck for the rest of the season. And again, we'll usher you guys off, take a little bit of a break before we resume with our final three, two helms and, of course, our CEO, Sir Russell Coutts. But I'll just take this moment again just to remind journalists that we have live coverage, and this our international broadcast will be going out to 175 territories globally. That's 30 more than last season. Also alongside the broadcast is the award-winning SailGP app with live feeds, fully customized camera angles, and the ability to switch focus onto the teams so that fans can have all of the data that they need at their fingertips. Okay, we are good to go. Hello, Pete, Jimmy, and Russell. Nice to see you guys. Right, I'm going to kick it off then with Jimmy, because welcome to SailGP. What was it about the championship that made you want to be part of it?
Oh, it looks like the best racing in the world. It was very, very tough, to be honest, just sitting on the sideline and watching season one. And now when you look at the lineup, the teams, and the talent that's involved, just very, very fortunate to be involved and to get out there and have a crack at it.
We heard Sir Ben Ainslie saying before he doesn't think he's ever seen a lineup like this in sailing. Would you agree?
Completely, yeah. Never ever seen a lineup of the best in the world from different backgrounds too, not just from one area. We really do have representation from all the different disciplines in the sport and the best of the best. So it's going to provide for some pretty compelling racing.
And all on identical boats?
Yes, yep, no excuses, that's for sure.
Because, there's no denying that there's going to be a bit of a rematch between you and Peter, having lost out to them recently down in New Zealand and, of course, here in Bermuda. An opportunity for you to set the record straight?
Well, yeah, I mean, Pete and I have obviously had some fantastic racing over the years, but I tell you what, you just cannot focus on one team. We are going to have our hands full with 7 of the best teams in the world here, and I think if you were to sort of get tangled up or focused on one team, that would be a big mistake.
What do you take out of the rehearsal races and the training, because it appeared to go well for you yesterday?
Yeah, well, a lot of things went our way yesterday, and I think there's a few boats with system issues and things like that. So I think with what we took is just how high-paced and quick the decisions are, and it's, yeah, I mean, we've come from a few years of basically just having to worry about one boat, and now we have 7 boats on a Tice rate track doing 40 to 50 knots everywhere. So yeah, it's a completely different change, but it's one that is very, very exciting and something we're just looking forward to getting out there and mixing it up.
Talk me through your thought process when it came to creating your team, the strategy in terms of who you brought in and what were their strengths.
Well, I think we've got a great blend of youth, experience. We've got some great talent. I thought Rome Kirby did a great job setting a good foundation in season 1, and I'm really, really stoked that he stayed in the team and went to the flight controlling role. He's actually played a big part in helping me try and get up to speed driving the boat. But yeah, the rest of the guys on board, very, very fortunate to have them. And already you can see the team just naturally gelling well together off the water as well. But at the end of the day, we'll be judged by our results in the water. So following this weekend, that'll be the true test.
And for you, what's it like wearing the Stars and Stripes? Because you don't have an American accent, but it's a country that you've got an affinity for?
Yeah, big affinity with the US, and I think probably the best results in my career to date has been representing the US. So I'm very, very fortunate and honoured really to get another shot with the US. My family's American, we live in America, so yeah, what an honour, and I hope we do them proud, and we'll be out there and we'll fight the whole way around.
Pete, just how excited are you then for the team's debut? How it's been a tricky, I guess, build up to the event, but how are you feeling on race day?
Yeah, I think we're incredibly excited to get racing, and like I think all the other skippers have said here, it's a pretty incredible lineup. So we're looking forward to getting out there and mixing it up. For us, we definitely feel like the new team. We only managed to sail our boat for the first time yesterday, and today's the first time the light air boards have been in it. So we're just on an incredibly steep learning curve, and looking forward to getting out there and getting on with the job.
Sir Ben Ainslie touched on it a little bit earlier, but how have you found adapting from the America's Cup boats coming into the F50s?
Yeah, well, I think they're definitely quite different to the Cup boat, and I think all the, Jimmy would probably say the same, that they're relatively different to, what we actually raced here last time we were in Bermuda, and, it's just learning those systems, learning the different roles people have to play on the boats, and just breaking up the responsibilities slightly different, but nonetheless, it's a one design boat and everyone's got the same. So it's just about making the most of what you've got, and I think that's what we're really excited about doing here. Is just trying to make sure we're on the steepest learning curve and getting towards the front of the fleet at some stage soon.
You come here obviously off the back of that big win in New Zealand, and of course you were victorious here in Bermudan waters in 2017. Amongst your many other accolades, you come here almost as the marked man, the team that everyone wants to beat. Does that sit comfortably with you?
Yeah, I think we're definitely comfortable to be the marked man, but you've got to be realistic with expectations here. We're definitely the new team on the block. Nearly all the other teams have at least done an event, if not a whole season and an event, and for us, we feel like that puts us a little bit on the back foot, but nonetheless, we'll be trying to really get some good results out there and put our best foot forward, and we're really excited to get racing, but we definitely want to be realistic with our expectations.
One thing we know this season is that SailGP is using the platform to race for the future, and all the teams will have their own race for the future partner. This weekend, Live Ocean will be on your boat. Can you tell me a little bit about this and what you and the league are looking to achieve?
So Live Ocean's actually a charity that Blair and myself founded probably about 18 months ago now, and it's really about amplifying and accelerating ocean action, and we really believe that people don't understand yet how much the ocean gives us. 2 out of every 3 breaths of oxygen we take comes from the ocean, so we should be looking after a whole heap better than we are now. And right from our initial discussions with Russell about getting involved in this league, we really wanted Live Ocean to be really tied into the DNA of our team, and we're really excited to have it up on our wing, and have the New Zealand or Blue Fern on our wing as well, and it's something that makes us a little bit more proud to go racing and put our best foot forward.
Well, good luck to you both, Jimmy and Peter, racing today. Just leaves me to come on to you, Russell, because I mean it's been like a who's who of sailors coming onto the stage in the last half an hour. You must be delighted with the 8 teams and the talent amongst the crews for this season.
Yeah, it's really fantastic to have this lineup of sailors. Now, we really do have the very best sailors in the world competing in this league, and that's what we always set out to do. So we're incredibly happy to get going this year. And even though we've got some restrictions with COVID, where I think we're very, very fortunate to get back in business and get this underway.
Yes, it's testament to the organisers, and of course we're very grateful to Bermuda to have the event here. What's the reception been like for SailGP in Bermuda, and what do you hope that SailGP can deliver to the country?
Well, we were all looking forward to getting back to Bermuda, and I think it's a fabulous place to go racing these boats. And the Bermudian government and the people here have been incredibly supportive. They've worked with us through these challenging times to make sure that we can put the event on and showcase both SailGP and Bermuda to all the people watching in the 175 territories that we're broadcasting these races to.
We've talked a lot about the sport and the lineup of skippers and the amazing boats, but it's a championship that goes beyond sport. Can you tell me a bit about the vision and the purpose of SailGP?
Well, yeah, as Pete Burling just referred to, it's really something that we are really passionate about, the environment that we operate in throughout our organisation. It's always been there. However, this year we really decided to move from intention to action. And so we're obviously a sport that's powered by nature, and we realised that we could play a huge part in championing a better world that's really powered by nature, and in particular with a particular focus to the acceleration to the transition to clean energy. And so we've partnered with a whole range of new companies, even during this COVID period of disruption in the world. We've managed to partner with a lot of new companies like Cognizant, Kuehne+Nagel, Acronis, to name a few of our major partnerships that we've signed that join Oracle and Rolex, but also they have really come in with joining our purpose to take real action against climate change. And for example, we have been able to move to our broadcast operations and our race operations and even our umpiring to be done remotely. So our umpires are going to umpire the races from our studio in London. Our race operations, our regatta director Ian Murray is directing the racing from Australia. Our broadcast operations are largely, almost all controlled centrally in our studio in London. So we've been able to reduce our carbon footprint quite significantly, and the work's not stopping there. We're partnering with a whole range of companies like ePropulsion, Evol, that are really helping us to accelerate the transition to electrifying our operations fleet on the water, so that we get away from fossil fuels. So it's really exciting. Our organisation is now fully engaged with this. As I said, we're now taking real action, and we're all proud of it.
It's certainly something very admirable about SailGP. Bringing it back to the event here in Bermuda, the weather's thrown out a few curveballs. Can you tell us what to expect this weekend and how and why the schedule has changed?
Well, normally we would never be able to contemplate to move the racing forward, but we've just actually talking about new partnerships. We've just announced our new partnership with AccuWeather, and looking at the weather forecast today, some days ago they were very, very confident that today would deliver, idyllic conditions for racing, and so we were able to take that decision. And I think the main thing is that we put on great racing and showcase these great sailors in the best possible way. So we took the decision to do that. It was fully supported by all of our broadcast partners, where of course we have contractual agreements to deliver a live racing product, but they fully supported us on this occasion, and so did all of our partners. They really understood it, and so we're looking forward to delivering our racing to the world at the allocated broadcast time, but of course we're excited to get it on today and see this racing here in Bermuda.
And after 2 full-on days of racing, who do you predict to be standing on the top of the podium?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I mean, imagine I was thinking of the analogy this morning of somebody actually said to me that should know what's going on in Formula One. They said actually Alonso's probably regarded as the fastest driver out there. And I said, really? And they said, yeah, I think if you walked along the grid, that people would be in agreement that actually everyone knows that. I thought, wow, that's amazing. It'd be amazing to sort of see, how he would shape up against Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. But then that's what we've got here. We've got the very best sailors in the world duking it out in equal boats, and it's going to be fascinating to see how that develops during the season.
You nicely sat on the fence there and didn't answer my question.
I think in this race, I'm going to stick my neck out. I think Ben Ainsley's going to be tough to beat with the British, but we'll see. In practice he's been sailing well. I think Jimmy was doing pretty well yesterday. It'll be tight.
It certainly will be. We've got a few questions from journalists. I'll have a quick look at those. From Richard Gladwell from sailworld.com. This one's to you, Russell. There's a stronger wind forecast for Sunday afternoon. Do you expect to be using the smaller 18 square metre rigs? How does the procedure work for this? Is it an event organiser call, or do the teams make then an individual decision?
Yeah, if the current forecast holds, we'd possibly go to the 18-metre rig with the high-speed foils. Today we've got the low-speed foils in, but on Sunday it's looking like it would be the small rig and high-speed foils. However, what happens is the person heading the shared services, they consult with the sailors, and there's a discussion about what configuration to go in, and then there's a final decision.
And then that's universal across all the teams. So keeping with the theme, all the boats are identical when they hit the water.
Yeah.
A question for Pete from Matthew Shin from Planet Sail. How, having come from 2 back-to-back America's Cup wins, where your team had faster, more sophisticated boats, but having dominated the 49er One Design fleet, which arena do you feel more comfortable in when it comes to taking on this level of competition, and why?
I'm not sure whether you feel more comfortable in one or the other, and I think I definitely enjoy both. I love that challenge of having to create a fast boat in the America's Cup environment, but I love 49er sailing where you're in a One Design fleet, and I think this is kind of a blend in the middle. You're taking a really high-tech bit of equipment and making everyone the exact same bit of gear. So it's going to be some pretty good racing out there. There's 8 very good teams here, and we're just looking forward to lining up on the start line for the first time.
Question for Jimmy from Helene Kugul from Canal Plus. Jimmy, great to see you here. What are the advantages of sailing on the F50 after the America's Cup campaign, and how do you go about recovering physically and emotionally from that campaign in New Zealand?
Physically, I actually wasn't too bad, because in the America's Cup I didn't even have to swap sides, so I was actually physically okay, not too tired. But emotionally, it's all those sort of campaigns are always take a lot of mental energy, and it's such a fascinating period because you learn a lot about yourself and the people you operate with, and it's a great chance to really grow. But I've really been looking forward to this ever since Russell approached me last year. It was, like I said, it was tough sitting on the sideline and watching, and I wanted to be a part of it. So to get that opportunity, I'm thankful for it, and I think we've got a great team that's going to get out there and sort of give it everything they can. I mean, look, we know we're in catch-up mode. We're in a similar position to Pete. We just don't have the time that the other teams have, but we're not going to use that as an excuse. We're just going to get out there and just try and leave it out in the water.
Well, SailGP, delighted to have you both. good luck today. Good luck for the rest of the season. Thank you very much, of course, to Sir Ross Coates for joining us. That concludes our press conference. We'd like to thank you, all the journalists, for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed this exclusive preview of Season 2. I think we can really expect some high-speed, high-drama racing today. And don't forget to tune in to the action tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Go to the sailgp.com/watch. Go there on that site to get all the details of where you are and where you can watch it. So you don't want to miss this one. And enjoy the racing.